Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Did this Wednesday come around pretty fast?
This whole year's going by quick.
I
I
know
mean,
it's March 1st. I can't believe it.
I can't even say that this Wednesday, because they all feel
Oh,
way too
yeah.
fast.
Seriously.
Hello, everybody. I've got Instagram going, which is what I'm looking at. So I got to make sure
Okay.
I don't knock that over in
Yeah,
front of me
right.
working the laptop. For all of our new friends coming in, we are speaking with Marianne Winkowski. The TV show The Ghost Whisperer was based off of her. So feel free to ask questions in the comments about earthbound spirits, negative energy, fairies. What else do we cover, Marianne? Like everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Anything that you have a question about any other ghost show that's on TV, ask me about it. I'll give you my wholehearted opinion.
Brutally honest opinion. Um, and we also talk about, discuss, answer questions about episodes from the podcasts that come out every Wednesday morning at like 4 a.m. What's funny is for whatever reason, woke up a little after 1 o'clock in the morning this morning and just laying there trying to go back to sleep. And I'm like, did I set the podcast to go up? So
Oh, no.
I'm like, okay, I did. Telling you, my brain doesn't shut off.
Yeah. And especially at 1 o'clock in the morning. Not good.
Yeah, I mean, I fell asleep pretty good, but sat right up and was like, oh, I know it's dumb, but is it loaded?
Right.
It was. Good morning, everybody. And we've got a pretty, at least sunshiny day. So hopefully that means nice outside as well as sunny. But Marianne, because of today's episode about the runes on the podcast, you dug out your runes.
I did. I found them. I was so surprised. And like I said, it always fascinated me because your son's name is spelled exactly the way these little tiles are spelled. So I figured there's got to be a story there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so you should tell a little story, seeing that it's your son.
Well, and the other spelling that I have seen is Roone. It's like
Oh,
a elongated, yeah, to get that ooh sound.
no.
Um, and that spelling, if I remember right, was a well-to-do businessman whose name was spelled that way. And there was a pretty good professional like skateboarder who would compete. Like I didn't know there was skateboarding in Olympics or competitions for this. And his name is spelled the Rune. So I kept that in mind in case he was ever like, nobody else has this name. Like, yes, there is. But in Old Germanic, it means secret. So at that time, I was living in Oklahoma with his dad, and some of the extended family members weren't the greatest parents, but were trying to do better. And the mother in law at the time, I just did not want her knowing that I was pregnant because I knew it was going to happen. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to deal with this, especially at that time. His father was out on the road a lot. He was working on cell phone towers. So he would be gone from weeks to like a couple months, leaving me there by myself. And she would show up like every day and I would get some sort of lecture. Now, mind you, Oklahoma Bible Belt, there was also a lot of that. And I'm just like, I don't. So there was that meaning behind it, as well as just trying to like come up with a cool, unique name. My first name's Melissa, middle name Ann. Every Melissa I've ever met, we are all Melissa Anns. And I'm like, none of your moms could get remotely unique. Like, I'm not going to do that to this kid. So, Yeah, I mean, we sat there and I pulled pagan baby names and we were going through and just, unique baby names, um, just to see what we could come up with, what we both liked. Um, his father was a big fan of, was it Final Fantasy? But he always enjoyed the name Renoa, I guess was some character's name for a female, and I'm like, "We are not naming our kid after a video game character." He's like, "But it's pretty." I'm like, "We're not doing it. We are not doing it better, better
Yeah,
be a boy, because 'cause we're
right.
not doing we will fight in the hospital over Renoa." But, yeah, he came out, Rune with the middle name Alexander. Um, for the longest time, he hated his name. He wanted to be named Michael, but, no, he is Rune Alexander. Um, he doesn't hate it so much now, but, yeah, for the longest time as a kid, he hated his name. Um, and it wasn't until he had to do a report where he had to interview his parents and ask him how he got his name. It was generally geared toward, "What family member are you named after?" I'm like, "None." Pulled it out of some books in thin air, but I'm like, "You are the only kid that can write your name in your name." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Look, these are the things." And for a hot minute, he had an interest in runes. Now he could care less.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
what
he'll come back
happens.
around.
Right. Maybe. You never know.
Right. But that's the short version of that name, and how he came to be. I would have dreams about him. Anytime I gave his father grief, because he was always like, "It's a boy, it's a boy, it's a boy." And I'm like, it could be a girl, and we're not doing Renoa. Like that night, I would always have a dream, and it would always be the baby boy sitting there, like baby boy, barely old enough to sit up and hold themselves up, talking to me like an adult. And when I would wake up, I'd be like, "That's really creepy." But it was always like this reaffirmation of like, no, here he comes. It's a boy. It's, quit joking. It's a boy. Um, and it was a boy. So yeah.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. It's funny because I did a lady's house and she was born in Europe, and but she came over, she was young, and so she had her first daughter here. And while I was in the kitchen talking to her, the daughter walked into the thing and she says, "We this is my daughter, and we call her No No." I said, "Oh, okay." And I said, "No, no." I says, "What's that short for?" She says, "Oh, it's a European name, Nonami." And I says, "Oh, well, No No's cute." And the daughter started laughing. She said, "Write my name out." I said, "What?" Her name on her birth certificate is where it said what her name is. The mother wrote no name. She couldn't think of a name for her. So they called her Nonami. No name.
That's hilarious. That's unique.
It's different.
So Rune's paternal maternal grandmother, so it would have been like his great grandma through his dad's mom's side. They're native. Rune is the whitest little Native American boy you'll probably see. Um, her name was Darkashay. And I'm like, huh. I'm like, what's behind that? And pretty much it came down to her parents were kind of illiterate, and her name was supposed to be Darkish Shade, but in writing it came out Darkashay. So I'm like, but that's still a pretty cool name.
It is. It is.
Like, never met another Darkashay ever. Um,
Now, who was that singer? His song was Dunkeshay.
or
He's,
is it Dunkashine? I think that was German. Or am I thinking something completely different?
I don't know, but there was a heavy set man that had a great voice and he used to sing at Las Vegas all the time.
Huh.
I don't even know if he's still alive. Uh, but I don't remember what his name was.
Okay, so somebody else did name their daughter
Oh,
Renoa after
geez. Oh, man, you kidding? Well, that's unique though too. But and for people that don't play any of those, you wouldn't know what that's from then.
right, right. Well, and I didn't really play like the closest to Final Fantasy I've ever played was Kingdom Hearts because there's a little bit of a crossover, and I don't remember Renoa being uh in there. Everybody says it's Wayne Newton.
Yes, that's exactly who it is.
Yeah.
Wayne Newton. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Is he
Let
still alive?
He is.
Oh, good.
Denise, yeah, says Wayne Newton, and he's still alive.
Oh, good. Okay.
Um, which is funny. Um, Otto says last Saturday night, all of a sudden, we smelled a very strong odor of burnt hair in one particular spot in the living room. When I went to sniff, I got a cold chill down my spine. The smell was real strong, but only in a 3-foot circle in one spot. My inner that word, Southern preacher came out of nowhere, and I opened an outside door from the living room and chased whatever it was outside after yelling at whatever it. After a few minutes, the smell was gone and no more chills.
Well, very lucky because a lot of times when you do come up against something like that, you raise your voice and scream or yell at it, all you're doing is giving it more energy. So you're really better off whispering or not talking at all. But good, I'm glad it worked. Let's just hope that it stays out, doesn't come back now.
Right. Not like, when you're not looking, here I come.
That's right.
Again. Sue says, after a toxic guest left, I was sitting with my fur kid. He started growling. His fur stood up and he was looking in the hallway. I smudged and my dog's behavior went back to normal. I am thankful he can see them and let me know.
And you're very lucky, yes. And that's exactly what you did. You did exactly the right thing. If he lets you know, that's where you smudge.
Here we go. Oh, how fun. Renee and Swifty, Donka Showen. And I guess he's married to a Cleveland gal. So that artist we're thinking of.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. I did not even know that.
Hello, Sandy, one of our WTF letter readers. When you're ready, we're ready to read more letters.
I know.
This is new to me. What do you think of the picture of the elf the president of Mexico claims he caught on film? You can Google for the pic. Have you seen that? I didn't know this was a thing.
No, I have not seen anything. Well, little folk are everywhere. They're not just in a certain area, they're around the world, any place and everywhere. So I'd be surprised if somebody caught him on film, though, because that would be a little unique.
Okay, and Barbara says Marianne Wayne Newton sang Danke Schoen.
I knew he sang something like that. So.
Oh, and Joel says it's big news. He's being made fun of for getting that picture. And if my phone wasn't currently doing Instagram, I'd be. But wait, Instagram gets to see the changeover. Oh, it's more of a video. This might be something. Yeah, it looks pretty hokey. I'll have to really look at it, send it over, and maybe we'll put it up on screen next week. It's going to take some downloading, reformatting to where StreamYard will handle it, and but it looks like they took Dobby, elongated it, and like had it walk through his parking lot, or driveway. So, are you familiar with Dobby from Harry Potter?
Oh no, I don't know who that is either because I've never read Harry Potter or saw it.
Oh, we have to give you a sock.
Yeah, nah.
Let's see. She Ready says, I have so many questions about people with schizophrenia. Would love to know if they can actually attract earthbounds, or is it the attachment that causes the condition?
Yes to both of those. And that's why any treatment center is full of earthbound spirits. And if the person that you know went in didn't have one attached to them, they're probably going to bring one out with them when they come home.
Yeah, Sandy's like, we'll all be Googling later. Yes. Do it. Everybody loves Dobby. Let me give him a sock. Uh, thank you, Divine. And your pendant should be getting there here like in the next day or so. Everybody loves Dobby. Um, Deanna says, hello, all. I heard 2 knocks last night after going to bed. I live alone. Both pets were asleep in my room. What might have been? Are you an apartment? Do you have shared walls, maybe? I always try to debunk first.
And that's the same thing I would ask, is there somebody that lives above you or below you, or you're in a singleton house? And, and if your house is protected with the quince seeds and somebody's trying to get in, for them to knock on the outside is not unusual.
Mm-hmm. Divine says, is white sage the only sage you can use to smudge with?
I don't think so. I think sage is good. Like I said, it can be mixed with something, but I think sage is that or sweetgrass, but I think sweetgrass is really hard to find sometimes. And with all the fires and all the rain and everything that's been going on out west, I'm thinking if you can get your hands on smudge stick now, you better stock up, because I bet they're going to be hard to find.
Yeah. Socks for Dobby. Dawn is asking any way to get loose seeds to put in acrylic earrings or a pendant.
No, I'm sorry. Unless you buy a dream bag and take the seed out of that, you would have a seed that way. But no, I don't sell loose seeds. And I've already got seeds in acrylic, so.
Barbara says, I just finished reading your chapter about seeing earthbound pets, but that makes you feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, it was, it's good to know that you're going to see them again, too, just like you are your relatives and your friends that you want to.
So let me see here. The other big news, and I almost forgot about it. Every week, I usually say, you can find our podcast on everything except, well, we are finally on Apple, guys. Finally.
How long did it take?
Too long? Way
Yeah.
too long. But one of my early mornings, I wish I was asleep. What can I work on? And for some reason, I'm like, let me go look at that again. It's been months since I even bothered trying, and went in there and hit submit again, and it went through. And within 20 minutes, I was able to pull it up on, podcast on my phone. And I'm like, oh,
They did it. Yay. Yay, yay, yay.
So if you are a iPhone, Apple, iTunes podcast person, When Go Speak is now available on iTunes. So, or maybe they got tired of hearing me say, we're on everywhere but there, because they won't take the stream.
That could be too. You never know.
This is where I sip my coffee.
Yes.
About time. Yep. And that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, smudge sticks are almost impossible to find. It is. We go through spurts of being able to keep them. We currently have, when I got the notice that there was, plenty available. And some of these are going to be like sage with eucalyptus, sage, but just to kind of make that sage go farther. I think they were just adding some other stuff.
Yeah, I've the res that I get them from has put lavender in with it and some pine in with it. So, but I think 75% of it is definitely sage. And in all honesty, people grow sage in their gardens. You can dry it and burn that too. I mean, sage is sage.
I mean, for the longest time, I had a really good thriving Russian sage in the yard at the house, and it smelled just like white sage, except it was very, the leaves weren't as big, they were smaller, and it was very twiggy, so it would take more. But I'm like, I bet it works too.
Right.
it would take years off of that
Yes,
to get enough to do anything.
right.
Um, let's see. Da, 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 da. Okay, well, if you would like to purchase any of Mary Ann's items, just go to her website, click in the shop or the store. Mary, because you even had like zipper pulls and stuff, or you still have zipper pulls, right?
Yep, zipper pulls. Yeah, pretty much acrylic earrings, zipper pulls, charms that are in gold tone, silver, sterling. And if you're really feel like it, we can even get them in gold if the gold is outrageous in price. So, and
Mhm.
people are also using them now for put a little bit of ash in from so, somebody that's been cremated or your pet that's been cremated. So yeah, it very versatile.
Right. Poodle Pants is asking if Russian sage works. She's got huge plants, and I didn't get to try mine because I could never really get enough off of it. It was big and tall and almost attacked you on the way into the door, but it was so twiggy. Uh,
Well, yeah, and the twigs work because I've seen twigs from that bundle too. Yeah, that's yeah, I would definitely bundle that in the fall when it's dried or cut it and dry it and bundle it. But yeah, you could definitely use that. That would be strong.
oh, there you go, City. Use the Apple iTunes to listen now. We're on there. We are so on there. Um, yeah, that was a like 4:30 in the morning glee of excitement. Like it works. It's alive. Um, let's see. But Mary Ann, we were just kind of plotting maybe a visit to the store in April. So anybody that is local, Mary Ann will be at Goddess Elite tentatively right now, April 15th. I'm thinking that's going to work, but I'm currently in my dining room and not at the store with that book, but I can almost
Well,
guarantee.
it would be the Saturday after Easter,
Mhm.
and that will actually be the first outing for the year.
Mhm.
Uh, so bring pictures and bring yourselves, and you can ask questions and bring your any books that you bought. I will be happy to sign them, even if they weren't bought that day. And but Melissa's always got the books there, so definitely.
That's why I was awake. You know what? Well, Spirit needs to quit waking me up in the middle of the night for work things. I can do stuff during the day. Um,
Yeah, but then somebody goes, Melissa, can you answer this question for me? And you forget. See, you don't forget at 4 o'clock in the morning.
true, true. I recently put like a stickable white dry erase board thing on the wall in my office, and part of me, I'm like, I'm gonna start keeping track of how many questions my employee and be like, you will be rewarded for the fewest questions asked rather than the most.
Sometimes it's really hard being the boss.
I'm like, I am so honored that you think I know everything about everything all the time. What would you
Yeah.
do if I wasn't here? If I were still in Tucson, how would you handle this? Um, better late than never. Thank you for doing the medical field that you do. Um, says we put the Quincy's up on the wall after Zoom a few weeks ago, but the voices and electricity has started up again.
Well, you have to make sure you didn't miss anywhere to put the seed. And I have had some really obnoxious ghosts. Once they've gotten out of the house, they can still mess with the electric coming in the house if you have above ground utility poles and the wires are coming from the poles directly to your house. If that's the case, some smart aleck ghost is messing with those wires where they're connected to the house, and that's why you're having trouble inside. So I've already had to have people go up with duct tape and put one of those seeds on the actual siding of the house to keep a ghost away. But that's an option too. I don't know, remember, or whatever, what your living situation is. But check to make sure if you've missed anything. Um, if you have common walls with somebody, make sure that your heating and air ducts aren't on the same common wall. Okay, the voices, are you sure they are not from somebody that you know? Ones that have crossed over can come and visit, and you could hear them sometimes too.
Mhm.
Does it sound familiar? That, or leave a call and let's check to make sure if there's anything in the house or not. We can do that.
Um, so as a quick reminder, and Amy brought it up, and a very good point, when you come to see Marianne at the store and you're bringing pictures, she says, don't let her touch her phone to see the picture.
No.
Photos that are printed off.
Well, no, if you hold the phone and I don't touch the phone, it'll be fine. But somebody goes to hand me a phone. No, 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 no. Don't do that. And you don't have to print them off. Like I says, if you hold the phone, it'll be fine. Or I can put my lined rubber gloves on and hold it.
I always think of the mom from Dexter's Laboratory. Like she never took off her rubber gloves for like cleaning and working in the. So that's what I picture you with her with her gloves.
I've just got yellow, pink, and a pair of blue ones somewhere that just hang around in my office, nowhere near any water.
Andrew says, asks, how easy is it for spirits to mess with electronics? I work at the hospital and it seems like the computers are always slowing and crashing. Is that common?
Absolutely. That is exactly 100% right. That's why hospitals are full. And that's one of the things, I mean, maybe not so much now, but in the day when everybody had a corded phone on their desk and you wanted to call the office right across the hall, you couldn't make a phone call from your desk across the hall to that desk. They can mess with all of that. And for those of you who know what a telephone cord board is, especially a 555 cord board, man, pulling those things out and stacking them in and putting them in. I used to do that for Republic Steel. And if there's a ghost around there, it's almost like they're popping those things right out. So, no, they absolutely mess with all of that.
John says, Marianne, I was the first one who slept in my father in law's bedroom after he passed. And when I was in bed, it felt like I couldn't breathe. Was that his spirit? Could it have been him?
Jen, why would your father in law do that to you? Unless he didn't like you. But, you could answer that better than me. Have you had a dream of him since he's died? Because if you have, then it's definitely not him. Because somebody from the light wouldn't do that. So I don't know, and I know you have ability to tell if something is around or not. So make a call and let's see if there's something going on.
Um, let's see. If I missed any questions back up at the top. I don't think I have. It's funny, Marianne, you got your runes and nobody's asked you to.
I know, and if I hadn't found him, everybody would be asking me.
I
So
know, and I'm like, I'm kind of surprised.
yeah. Maybe many people didn't listen to it yet.
Uh,
I'll leave them out for next Wednesday in case somebody listens to it between now and then.
though, so since I said, Brooks, like, can you show us? And you have the Elder Futhark set.
Okay, here's one with this little design on it. And
So yeah, that first one is Daga's Enlightenment, Hope, Clarity. I have another tab, so Instagram gets to watch me switch tabs. um, Laguz, Love, Dreams, Lake, Emotion, Water. We'll
this
just
one's a cute one.
move this tab down because it's not like I don't have 47 tabs open on my Google or anything. Oh, the why. Or to me, I'm like, oh, it's a little chicken foot.
Right.
um, Algae's protection,
Okay.
How
Now,
good.
see, what I used to do is put them all in this little maroon bag, and it used to be a joke. I would put them all in and shake them up and walk around and let Ted pick one and then find the book and see what it meant. But it was pick a rune, ruin your day, or pick a rune and make it a good day. Depending on what the rune said was supposed to be how your day went. Don't ask me why.
Mhm.
I always picked the blank one.
Oh, that one, according to the rune reader, that we would always have, that is like your spiritual connection. You're like it's almost like the spiritual powerhouse. Like it's so blank because it's spirit and it's your connection and your ability to make that, yeah,
And
the
believe me, when you're running your hands around in there, you can't tell what the design is on the stone.
Mm.
And 5 out of 7 days in a week, I would pick the blank stone. And it was a
Well,
joke. I just stopped doing it then. It was like, this is ridiculous.
yeah, so we've got Brooke helping us out. She said the
Okay.
belief is the unknowable, and she's like the divine in all human transactions.
Okay. It's like, fine. But there are days when I say some really bad words too. So,
I mean, that doesn't make you undivine. It's
yeah,
just,
but I'm not big on titles like that. It just makes me feel a little weird.
So maybe before we log off today, Marianne will have you pull one for the day for everybody because everybody goes,
Okay,
like
we
we
can do
thought,
that.
just pull one. So we'll do the Wednesday rune pull.
Okay.
Um, City asks, does fresh mugwort leaves work just as well as dried ones to remember dreams?
Yeah, absolutely. That would work too. I don't I do the stuff for inside the dream bags. I usually try to do it on the week of full moon. And so I energize them while I'm mixing. I'm energizing them while I'm putting them together, putting the inside. But I believe the mugwort would work on its own too. It doesn't really, it's probably a little stronger because I energize it, but I'm sure mugwort would work. Just like now you go buy a quiz, though, take these out of a no, no, those will not work. But the word should work, absolutely.
So a follow-up question about the schizophrenia. What is actually happening in schizophrenia? Are these actually gifted but don't understand what's happening to them? Some of them seem so absolutely tormented by really negative energy. And I think that's a very slippery slope. There's not going to be one blanket for all of them. Um, I would not be comfortable saying that they're all just gifted and misunderstood. There are going to be plenty that have mental misfiring in the brain causing things to happen that medications do treat. Marianne, feel free to jump in. I'm going to say if you are schizophrenic, do not stop taking your medication and just go on about like, I'm just seeing things that other people can't see and I'm perfectly fine. No.
No, and that's not the case. Keep this in mind. If you were gifted in that way, you would be able to get rid of the ghost yourself. You wouldn't have to find somebody to get rid of it for you or break the chain that it has on you. So, not necessarily. Like I said, I think once people get the right meds that they need, at least my big thing is that they're not going to fall off the wagon because there's no ghost or that kind of energy attached to them. That's where I think the plus is.
Mhm. Um, I think it's easier for negative entities, energy to attach to those, for people suffering that way, because they are already in a state of turmoil. They already know they're not feeling well, they're not right, so they're putting that out. So it's easier to go and exacerbate it. But that doesn't mean one necessarily always causes the other. It is
No,
not a cause and effect situation.
no, absolutely not. But any house that has any relative or a mentally challenged person living with you, from children up to senior citizens, that house has got a lot of energy because the people that aren't ill are stressed out. They're always on their last nerve waiting for something to happen. So it's high in energy anyway. So that's going to be an attraction anyway for earthbound spirits.
Mhm.
So yeah, anybody that has that kind of problem going on in their house really should be protected. So at least whatever meds the person is taking, they're going to work. Because with earthbound spirits in a house, the meds are not working like they should.
Mhm. Um, Divine asks, have you ever come across an entity that identified itself as a deity?
Oh, yeah, depending on how big their egos are, you just never know.
Thinking of all the celebrities.
Yeah, that, or every now and then, one out of a portal thinks that they're above everybody else. So, and that's probably what got them in trouble in
In
the first place.
right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So back to the whole, divine and cussing, studies show that people who swear are more trustworthy and likable. It's a good thing.
Well, thank you. I never heard that before, and I'm
Oh,
sure.
yeah, yeah. And bad words do not have anything to do with divinity. So saith Brooke.
Okay, well, I'm glad to know all that, so I don't have to
Hmm.
confess that anymore when I go to confession now that it's Easter.
You know what? Sometimes that cussing helps clear the throat chakra. So, carry on, carry on. Um, let's see. Um, Amy says, my grandson is autistic and we live across from a hospital. I feel our house is full of negative energy.
I wouldn't say negative energy, but I'm going to bet that there's a lot of earthbound spirits in the house. And, having the hospital right there is probably, a good indication that there are a lot. So, yeah, that's very possible.
Marianne to Marianne, curious about smells such as smoke and carnations, but nothing to cause them. Coincidences?
Sometimes a certain tobacco smell, a pipe smell can remind you of somebody specifically that smoked a pipe that maybe smoked cherry tobacco. That's very sweet smelling tobacco. Sometimes maybe Uncle John only smoked cigars. You said smell of cigar smoke. Carnations. Was there a funeral that you went to that when you walked into the funeral parlor, it just hit you up the side of the head, the carnation or the smell of the roses? Sometimes those are people that crossed over that are visiting. That doesn't mean they're always bad people. Now, if you smell foul or odors like rotten fish or sewer smells, sulfur smells, that's usually an indication that those are earthbound spirits that are visiting.
Hmm. Um, I'm a deity. Marianne eye roll. Sure you are. Let me make the white light so you can go back to your brethren.
Yeah, that's about it too. It looks, I've already looked at one and said, oh, you got to be kidding me. Aren't you too short to be a deity? So,
Right. Hello from Italy. What part of Italy? Marianne, like your family extended is from Italy. So I wonder,
yeah,
um, have you ever encountered anything that's actually scared you?
that one ghost that threw an axe in front of me. I mean, that little red-handled axe went over, right in the front of me, hit the concrete floor, slid into a fiberglass garage door, and made this huge boom noise. And it was two steps up to the go into the house. It was an attached garage. And I remember sitting on that top step thinking to myself, what in the hell are you doing here? And then I thought, oh, this is ridiculous. I'm alive and he's dead, so who cares? And in my world, I always knew an earthbound spirit cannot kill you. But I questioned myself that day for sure. Just like I questioned myself the day that I actually came up against that devil. I mean, that was the first two. Those are probably the only two times, but I got over it.
Oh, she is from Montella, near Naples.
Oh, okay, okay. No, we're more outside of Rome. So
Hey, Vicky. She's like off topic, but Melissa, we have the exact same china cabinet as what's over here. Belonged to my hubby's parents. Fun fact, I don't keep china in there though. That is like my metaphysical cabinet, stones, decks, candles, workings, or like that's where all of that stuff is kept. So like right before we went live and Marianne, she's looking for her runes and I'm like, oh, do I have a sheet with like the meanings? Do I need to pop open? So I'm digging through the upper part, you know, like what do I have in here? Um, and I often figure when I'm looking for stuff, was it the Sword and the Stone with the wizard or whatever who had like the messy laboratory and he's just like throwing stuff every. I'm like, that's what I like. If somebody were watching and like me pulling out the herbs, the incense, the candles, the drapes, the looking for that one thing, I'm like, I know it's in here.
yeah, well, if I could touch this computer and turn it around, you could see the two drawers that I totally destroyed looking for this bag of runes. I do the same thing. I know they're here somewhere. I just have
Right.
to find them.
Back at the house when I had the room, I actually had bought from a hotel in Oberlin that was like going through a remodel. It was actually the Oberlin Hotel. Um, Not necessarily a curio cabinet, but it was like one of those big, heavy wooden things that like you would open up and the TV would be in there, but it had all of these nifty little drawers underneath. And that was like the hoodoo cabinet because that big empty space is where the candles and the setup was. And then all of those other things were there. And then this was the extra stones and extras that were in the living room. And I didn't have room to bring both. So this kind of functions a little bit as both. But
Yeah, but in the store, you have a whole bunch of those kind of cabinets with stuff in it. I mean, I think you've got a great collection of them in there. I
every
know
I
5 different
understand.
ones for sure that I can think of off the top of my head. So, and I told Ted when we were moving, I says, if I can't find a place for this cabinet, I'm giving it to Melissa because she'll find a place for it in the store somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, there's currently like an old TV cabinet in the one hallway that the previous tenant left, and they're like, "We don't feel like dragging this out to trash. Do you have a use for this?" I'm like, "Yes, I do. Yes, I do." And for a little while, it was going to be an ancestor like working area back in the fall around October because it was big enough to put like the pictures and the altar area, and if needed you can close it to keep other people from meddling with it. So that one gets used for different things now and then. Currently it's not really doing much, but I like big old wooden antique type furniture, but I don't use it for what
it's
it's
supposed
normally
to.
used for.
Right.
um, like I would kill for an old library card catalog drawer thing. And, every time I saw Big Bang Theory and there was that one in the back, I'm like, they're not using it properly. Just let me have it. But I would love to have one. And they're expensive when you do find them online. Um, but I always have my eye out. And if I did come across one, I'd be like, how am I going to fit this? Where am I going to fit this? All the things I can use this for. So, but yeah, that's my magic cabinet, my metaphysical cabinet. No china.
No, Santa. No, well, that piece of furniture I'm talking about was in my office in the other house, and that's what I use mine for too, for metaphysical stuff. I didn't put, anything in it, no china. Now it's moved actually back into the dining room. So now, so now I'm trying to figure out how to put dishes back inside of it. Ay,
My,
ay, ay.
my
Yeah.
mom got kind of a similar one, and she actually has like her German china in it, and I'm like, oh. use yours boringly. Like she doesn't do any of, so it's appropriate for her. Divine's like, heck yeah, that's what I'm looking for, a china cabinet for all my decks and herbs. You know what? I only paid $50 for this. It was an older couple who were leaving Ohio going to Florida. $50. Um, obviously, if you know the show, make sure there's nothing attached to it. But they were both alive and retiring, and they were just like $50 at yours. And I'm like, great. Let's call somebody with a truck.
Right.
So keep a lookout for moving sales. People get rid of these things cheap all the time
Really cheap. That's where to find it. Right.
because they know they're big, heavy, clunky. So they know it's going to be a minute to get rid of it. So they'll let it go pretty cheap. Is the devil you encountered mentioned in your book? It is, and there's actually a picture of it.
Yes, it is.
How close is your book to me? Do you have yours handy? I think I see it on mine.
No, I'm not sure where mine's at right this minute. It's actually in When Ghosts Speak, and I actually took that picture. That was one of the pictures I took.
Um,
You
so
can see his face above the car. That is who flipped that axe at me. Now, I was trying to take the picture of the two ghosts that are sitting in the front seat of that car. I never saw him. But and this was a 35 millimeter camera, and on my way going back home that day, I stopped at the photography store and dropped the film off. And this man knew what I was trying to do because he said, "Why do you take such random pictures?" Well, when I'm looking in somebody's house and I see the ghost, I'm pointing in that direction, and sometimes you'd get it and sometimes you wouldn't. He said, "Okay, fastest film that you can find, black and white, no flash." He says, "That way no one's ever going to be able to question it." I said, "Okay." So the day I dropped that film off, I left, and my house was not even 10 minutes away. I went home, got inside the house, let the dogs out. The phone was ringing. I picked it up, and it was the man that owned the photography studio. He said, "You got one." I said, "All right." Pulled the dogs back in and recrated them and got back in the car and drove down, and that was that picture. I never saw him, but I sure did get him.
um, I'm trying to think. I have a couple photo albums of when I would go out to just certain places and take pictures. It was more like, oh, this is kind of like a pretty scenery, and um, if I caught anything there. Though, Marianne, I did show you when we were at the House of Wills the picture of we were there as a birthday party, and the birthday boy, which really a grown man, but like something mimicking him, like just slightly a few feet away. And honestly, other than the merry-go-round museum, like I've only caught so like maybe 3 times um, when trying to, I should say. Who knows?
When I gave at events, I used to have one of those machines that lit up that you could put a slide in and show it on a screen.
Hmm.
And when I did the tour for Ghost Whisperer, and especially on the college tour, the college campus tour, they would show those pictures. And those were all pictures that were all sent to Quantico. And they had no reasonable explanation for any of them. Uh, they could not say they were doctored or altered or tampered with. They wouldn't say they're a ghost, but they wouldn't say that they weren't a ghost. But I thought it was really funny because everybody that looked at those pictures for me all carried a quince seed. It was like, yeah, right, but you're not going to say it's a ghost. So I had some really good pictures like that, and I still have them somewhere. But you go to a place now to do a talk, there's not even screens. As a matter of fact, I think before we moved here, I got rid of that piece of equipment that you put the slide in. It's like, I'll probably never use this again. So, But no, picture there are really some good pictures out there. I mean, there really are, and they're definitely you can't you just can't wish them away. There is really happening. You can really see them.
So Swifty's got a clarification for. She's like, I think they're asking about the cloven hoofed devil. That one's not in your Wingo speak, right?
No, 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 no,
So
no, no.
that
That's
one, we did the podcast episode, and that one released August 3rd of last year, called Demon in the House.
okay.
So our Instagram friends got to see me switch tabs and go scroll for it. So August 3rd, Demon in the House podcast episode.
Okay.
Um, if someone has a negative energy on them, could Marianne re-clear it over Zoom?
No, but I could hold up the book and tell you what chapter to go to have somebody clear it for you. You can't do your own clearing, but you can have a friend do it for you, and it works.
Um, Kathy says, I work in a retail store where another seer said demons have been sent for the purpose of destruction. Can I get rid of this curse with a process in your book?
You're talking two different things here, Kathy. You're talking demons, which I'm assuming are earthbound spirits, and then you're talking about a curse. Two different things. Curses are curses, and earthbound spirits are earthbound spirits. And just because they're earthbound doesn't mean they're a demon, but you can definitely get information on what to do to help move everything along in When Go Speak. Absolutely.
Um, let's see. Are there spirits that tell you that we're in the end times?
No. And how would they know? If they didn't know that when they were alive, they're not going to know it when they're dead. And especially the ones I see, they're earthbound. They've never even gone to the light and come back. Now, maybe spirits that are in the light have knowledge of that, but not the ones that haven't gone to the light. No.
Let's see. Oh, Karen, thank you. Just like love when go speak, very useful in getting rid of negative energy.
It works. It absolutely works.
Vicky says we have a huge, pretty chunk of obsidian in our other metaphysical cabinet. Anything we should use that stone for? You know what? We actually just put a blog up on our website specifically about obsidian. So there's some uses and suggestions there. Back at the house, because I left it, I had almost like a small boulder, actually two, one by each door as like protection. So to help as things are going through doorways to help keep negative things from coming in. So you could always put it by your door. Let's see. Have you run across an earthbound that was a medium when they were alive?
Yes, I have. And I thought it was interesting that they should have known better and they should have gone to the light.
Womp womp.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, okay.
This is fun. Are you ever going to do another negative energy workshop? I attended one of yours and it was fantastic, and I'm laughing because I have been on her for like probably 3 years to do this.
And I can assure you, Melissa, this move got rid of every last piece of that workshop. So it is not happening. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Well, in all honesty, with Ted's health and everything else, like why would you even want that near you and around you and to complicate things? So, and I don't know if I would volunteer to keep that in the storage area of the store.
No, believe me, because the one box actually had a bunch of stuff that was cursed in it. And it's okay. New house, new beginning. Nah, we're done.
Did you send that medium to the light?
Yeah, she did go. Yeah, she did go. I have to tell you, I wasn't impressed with her when she was alive, and it didn't get any better after she was dead. So, what can I say?
So, so you knew her of her.
I did actually. Yeah, I
So,
did.
so how did you run across her? Did she come find you, or were you out in public somewhere and you just kind of ran across her in the grocery store?
Yeah, she was at her daughter's house, um, giving her daughter all kinds of grief because, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. In
This,
her world, she was always right. So it was a big, and actually, it's really funny because that's never happened before. Her mother showed up in the light and she said, "Oh my God, my mother's there." And is she angry with me? And I thought, oh boy, so she's been doing this for a long time and now everybody's angry at her. I says, I would go get that straightened around with your mother if I was you. I says, why don't you tell her the way it really is? Had to play into her ego. And she said, yes, that's a really good idea. And off she went. And oh boy, there you go. So I don't know what happened in the light. Yeah.
at least in the area, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Marianne, I don't think you can clench any tighter there.
I, I just have to be so careful. A lot
Uh-huh.
of people really like this person, so I just have to be very careful.
There's a certain one who is still alive that will be interesting when they pass. Um, that's all I have to say about that. Uh, have you ever met a ghost that wants to remain earthbound to help others, even those they don't know?
Yeah, and that's a really easy one for me to talk into. You can do more for them if you go to the light with all the good ones than being stuck down here. And then they start thinking about it. You know, I have to laugh because this isn't information that I know how to make a ghost do something. It's I raised two children, and you learn more from your kids than you do from a dead ghost, let me tell you. It's psychological stuff, it's reasoning, it's everyday common sense. That's pretty
Mhm.
much what it is. And I've been to Savannah, Georgia, and I have no plans of coming down anytime soon, but have been down there.
I mean, if we could really get the podcast, this is annoying the hell out of me. Podcast going to where we had enough, of a following to travel around and, be places. Because whenever we do in-person events, we got to rent the place, we got to pay for the travel, so that's what holds us back from doing more travel, besides weather in Ohio right now. Um, so if you have friends, family members, acquaintances, coworkers, anybody who's remotely even interested in this type of conversation and work, please let them know about the lives, about the podcast, about all the things that we offer, because that helps for that type of stuff to happen. Um, and now we've got Divine Light. Nope, DC first. so
You're
uh,
right. There's some very strange ghosts in Washington, D.C.
hmm.
I haven't seen spotted any wearing, the white stockings and a wig, but I'm pretty sure they're probably there somewhere too.
Let's see. When we pass, I would assume that if I go into this white light, we wouldn't be able to hang around our living family. Maybe that's why spirits don't go through it.
No, you're 100% incorrect. Once you go into the light, you can come back and forth and visit your family anytime you want, and you cause absolutely no problems. So, nope, nope, nope. The incentive is to go so you can be around them.
Without making them sick and causing just.
Trouble and everything else. That's right.
Linda asks, can we protect ourselves in the light the way you do an airplane and such?
Absolutely. Just when you walk into the airplane, you walk through the doorway, you put your hand on the top of it, like you're steadying yourself, and just put white light all over it. Have your seat on you, and have your St. Joseph medal on you that says you will never die in a plane crash.
Oh, now we got a debate. No. Savannah first.
Well, the
uh,
one thing that DC is a little closer.
yeah, that at least for us.
Yes.
So trying to remember. I think it was like a 6.5, 7 hour car ride when we would drive up from Fort Meade, which wasn't that far from DC. So it's been a minute. It's been a few years since.
Yeah, I don't think it was that far because the classes and the Girl Scouts, we went to Washington, D.C. It was only about a 4.5, 5 hour drive, maybe not even that far.
Okay. Well, my dad always knew shortcuts.
Ah,
So I sometimes think his internal compass spun a little bit, but
a little bit. Yeah, well, that could happen.
uh, oh, she says yes, about 8 hours.
Yeah.
Um, so um, it's a little farther or closer than Savannah, though. I mean, that would be comparing driving. Now, if we got on an airplane, you know, not that far.
Well, because there's no, global warming, because that's a conspiracy theory, I would really question the weather the way it is now, crazy, and all the planes that are canceled constantly because of storms and tornadoes and everything else. I don't know. I almost would rather drive than fly.
Okay, it says we lived in DC for a couple of years. It's about 6 hours. Traffic is half the battle.
Right.
Divine's like, yep. Do you sell the St. Joseph medal on your site?
Um, we do have St. Joseph medals that we always bring to events. I don't believe they are on the site. I will ask Ted if that's something he wants the store to put on the site. But for sure, we'll have them in April when we come to the Goddess Elite.
All right. Oh, it's already a little after 11. So we had so much fun. Um, so, no, no. If you're from the light, you won't make your family sick.
No, 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 no. No, no, they don't do any of that. They're perfectly perfect when they go to the light and come back. They cause you absolutely no problems.
Kim's like, by the time you show up early, go through security, etc., you could drive there
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, exactly.
It's funny. It's like I like traveling and seeing places, but the one thing that stresses me out so bad is TSA. Like I am paranoid that even if I got there 2 hours early, like I'm gonna get hung up in TSA, especially if Sandy's traveling with me. She is bad luck for me. I always get stopped at TSA with rock shows. Um, of all the years of going and even going to Colorado, never been stopped. Take Sandy with me to Florida, I get stopped. Take her to uh, Arizona, get stopped. And I'm like, it's you. Oh, and fire alarms go off in the airport when she's with me. So she's not. I'm like, you are my bad. No, stop this. But TSA just is my anxious point in traveling with how long they take. Let's get your runes while I find the link for the Zooms. Da, 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 da. Brooke's like, not your fault, Sandy.
Oh, this one's interesting. It's an M.
Brooke, what is it? Friendship and travel. Movement.
There you go.
Oh, where's Sandy? She was on here earlier. She's at work, so she probably had to hop off. You know what I thought about to get the global entry pass at your friend, and I was thinking about it. So, if you are curious, if you have ghosts, a portal, you can pick up on the Fae folk. Join us on Zoom. It is limited to 20 people. And when I checked last night, the next one that had availability, which was March 20th, only had 3 spots left. So, other than that, we're going to be opening up the April 14th date when we end our live here. So, that link will work anytime, forever, as long as we're doing the Zooms. So, it's going to automatically provide to you the date that has availability. Don't email me and Marianne on the day of wanting to know why you can't get in and why it's broken. It's not broken, it's full. Don't wait too long. We start at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We love friends from all over the world joining us. Please adjust accordingly to start on our time. Everybody gets to ask questions. We ask that you be considerate of other people who also paid to be a part of that Zoom. Their time is valuable as well. So keep your questions kind of short to the current time. What happened when you were 5 has no relevance to what's going on in your house right now. You also must be in the building that your question is about. Please don't be on break at work when you're asking about your house, because can't do it. Marianne can only see in the building that you're currently standing in. No one under 18 to be in the room eavesdropping around the corner. Don't bring your youngin' in on camera because your youngin's got a question. That's not how this works. Get the question from the youngin', get the answer. You decide how you're going to give that answer to the youngin'. What else, Marianne?
I think that covers it. I think we're good.
Feel like I'm forgetting something in all of the rules that keep popping up.
No, I think we got it covered. We sound like the Gestapo, honest to God.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, let's click down all the things, because I
Right.
always get multiple 2, 3 emails every time, the day before and the day of. Why can't I get in? Can you make it work? No, I can't because it's full. It's full. Do not wait to the last minute. Every once in a while, somebody will either cancel completely out or reschedule to the later date. Sometimes something will open up. Just keep an eye. I do not have a waiting list to notify people if somebody cancels, because I also run Goddess Elite. I also do the podcast editing. We're actually recording some episodes when this live ends. So I cannot guarantee I'm going to remember to notify that first person in the list that there was a cancellation. Just keep an eye on the site, guys. But as of last night, there were 3 spots for Monday, March 20th. The next one that's going to open up is Friday, April 14th. So give me a couple hours to get the 14th open, because we've got to record some stuff for you guys to listen to on the podcast. This is. And then on the 15th is Marianne in person, live and in person. Come see her, come check on Ted, bring your pictures for Marianne to look at, get your quinceads, jewelry, charms, your smudge soap.
And look at all of Melissa Stone's that she brought back with her from Tucson.
Yeah, and some of it's going pretty quick. So I'm already thinking, like, here in a couple months, I might have to make a trip to a couple of the warehouses in the Carolinas. So come check out some stuff. We will be doing a live this Thursday on our YouTube, Goddess Elite, and Twitch, going over yet more Tucson stuff that wasn't even unpacked for last week. I'm still not even done with the palette. Like, I got about a quarter left. It's 2,000 pounds, so it's a lot of rocks. And I think I told you, Marianne, about that little boy talking some smack to me. He's like, well, when are you going to be done? And I'm like, I'm going as fast as I can. You want to help count? You want to count some stuff?
Yeah, right.
Talking some shit. So catch us on Goddess Elite Thursday for a live sale on the new stones, and Friday, for those of you that have any interest in the type of shaman work I do, I will be doing a live with my Peruvian shaman teacher about the Healing Masada event that he's got coming up. So if you have questions about that type of shamanism and how it works and why we do it and how we do it, join us on there. But Marianne, it's time to get to recording. Trying to stop it. Yeah, hopefully your pendant, because it went out. What's today? Wednesday. Went out yesterday, so you should be getting it. Well, we started doing jewelry lives too on Saturdays. So, and I was kind of thinking, I'm like, Marianne, we might need to collaborate. That's the real word, on a Saturday, and maybe just show some of your jewelry and let people, see them who are maybe not local, that can't quite see it. And, because I think you guys have some pieces that aren't always on the website. So right? Especially in some of the zipper pulls or in the
Well,
pendant.
you can't, the little charm that's on a zipper pull is different every time.
Mhm.
So you just have to, if you need three, you just have, they'll send you three different ones, and hopefully the three charms you like. You can't pick those. All the other charms you can choose though.
Right. So you'll be able to pick that, like,
Your own, on the zipper pull, correct.
so we'll have to maybe figure that out. Like, might have to either go to your place or have you come to me while we do a live in the store. We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll have to do a Marianne Jewelry Live, and y'all can pick your pieces right then and there. Um, aw, thanks. She's like, I just sat in the parking lot of the grocery store for an hour to do this live. Thank you. Oh.
Jeez.
But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining.
Have a good week, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday.
All right. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.